Subscribe to Teckoh on YouTube or you will forever be a bot at Fortnite.
What is up, boys, and welcome back to another video. So with the release of Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 6, you already know we're back on that grind to champs, and in today's video, I'll be giving you every single thing you need to know in order to gain arena points fast and reach Champions League in Fortnite Season 6. If you want to enjoy this video, boys, be sure to drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new and want to see more content just like this, and with that said, let's hop right into it. So the first thing I want to cover is the actual structure of arena, and to be honest, it's really not that much different from the past few seasons. Elimination and placement points are still the same for all game modes, including solos, duos, and trios. So really the actual structure of arena is going to stay generally the same, the main differences being in the actual gameplay and meta. However, one thing I want to quickly touch on is this new feature called competitive preseason. If we're still in the first week of the season when you're watching this, you may have noticed your arena points haven't been reset since season 5. This is the preseason feature, which basically makes it so you have a week before the season properly starts to get adjusted, learn the meta, and all that stuff. So on the 23rd of March, or 1 week into the season, arena points are going to be set back to 0 for everyone. I just wanted to bring this up really quick in case anyone is watching early in the season and is a bit confused about their points, and so everybody knows what to expect in the future, assuming this feature stays. So with that said, let's talk about which game mode you should optimally be playing and which strategy you should use to maximize your points. First off, when it comes to game modes, the most optimal game mode this season for points, similar to other recent seasons, is going to be solos. Simply put, solos give you much more points per elimination, placement points come much faster compared to duos and trios, and overall it's just a more consistent game mode really. You also don't have to take the time to find a team or wait for your team to get online. You don't have to worry about someone else getting killed. It's really all up to you and your skill level. So in general, if you're looking to gain the most points in the least amount of time, grinding out a bunch of solos is probably going to be your easiest way to do that. On the other hand though, if you're a serious competitive player who's grinding for something like FNCS, then it might be best to mix it up between solos and trios. Since FNCS is a trio tournament, it's obvious that practicing some arena trios is going to be beneficial, and since zone rule scrims and all those other things really aren't as effective anymore unless you're in a pro server, the next best option is to practice your fighting in arena as a team. Basically what I'm trying to say here is that if you're a normal player just looking to gain some points and try to hit champs, then I'd recommend doing almost all solos. However, if you're a competitive player who's trying to play an FNCS or just get insanely good with your team, then try to mix some trios in there too. You can do duos as well, there's nothing inherently wrong with it, but I consider that mostly a fun thing as it really doesn't have as much carryover to tournaments this season, at least as far as we know right now. The next thing I want to do in this video is take a bit to discuss the meta, along with how you can adapt to it to maximize your point gain. So at this point, you probably know what all the changes are, with the crafting mechanic being added, pumps being unvaulted for the 57th time, a bunch of other new weapons, all the map changes, and all that stuff. Overall, I'd say the best thing you can do right now to improve at the game is to absolutely grind out every single new mechanic added to the game. When you play, take every single opportunity to learn and improve with the new items and mechanics. Even if you completely hate the new locations, the bottom line is you're going to run into them a lot, so it's better to learn them now compared to learning them a month into the season and falling behind everybody else. My point here is to try and push out of your comfort zone. Use items that you don't prefer and make yourself good with them. Get good with the crafting mechanic and figure out the best landing spot to maximize your loot and survive off spawn. It's really not that difficult to adapt to a new meta, and I feel like people kind of overcomplicate it. Just take the time to practice and learn it, try to push out of your comfort zone, and you should be all set. With that said, for this next section, I'm going to take some time to discuss the best in-game strategy for gaining points. Starting off, as I discussed earlier, I do recommend doing solos for the majority of your points, so that's going to be what I kind of base this section on. However, most of it does carry over to other game modes as well. It's really not overly complicated, but it definitely is important to have a consistent strategy and know exactly what your plan is when you hop into an arena game. So with that said, let's get started. Starting off with the early game, the first thing you're going to need to do is find a drop spot. Now, it's really up to you which exact spot you want to pick. For example, my own preference is Steamy Stacks, which I still go to despite the new season, simply because I love the POI. But at the same time, it's critical that you try out multiple spots and really just see what works. I would strongly advise that you give each new spot at least a few games, just see which spot you vibe with the most once you've given them all a fair shot. Once you know your spot, early game is really not too complicated. Figure out an area within your drop spot and develop a sort of loot route to make sure you're efficient when looting up. From there, just practice your spot over and over again, master the ins and outs of it, and get good at fighting at the spot as well, and you should be good. In mid-game, your priority should be to stay alive while taking fights strategically. If you're just playing for the sake of playing, there's nothing wrong with simply pushing whoever you see, and I actually recommend doing that if you're looking to get better at fighting and W keying. But when you're going strictly for points, then you're going to want to be a bit more selective with your fights. If you're trying to play optimally, try to only take fights that fit this criteria. There should be some sort of benefit for you, whether it's loot, positioning, or a material refresh, basically something you can gain from the fight. There should be a low risk of third parties, meaning it's a secluded location or you have enough cover to avoid getting sprayed, and you should have the necessary tools to fight. What I mean by that is you have enough loot, materials, and enough time to take the fight without putting your game at risk. Finally, the last stage of the game is obviously endgame, and endgame is, in my opinion, the easiest part of the game. I know that's a bit of a controversial take, but it really isn't too difficult once you understand your goals and once you've done it enough time to not get overly nervous. In endgame, your goal should be to stay ahead of each zone, get refreshes when other players are vulnerable, and then take height and win once you have the opportunity. It's really not a difficult thing to do, and once you've done it enough times, endgame just becomes second nature, really. Nothing has changed too dramatically with the new season that has a major effect on how the endgame plays out, so just follow the things I told you and you should be pretty set. Overall though, guys, in this new season, Arena shouldn't be too difficult to get good at since the layout is fairly similar to other seasons. As a quick recap, in this season your priorities should be to grind out solos and trios if you want to improve as a team, learn the meta to the best of your ability through repetition and practice, and after that just master a strategy for all your games so you can play consistently throughout the season. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and drop a like on it, and consider subscribing as well if you want to see more videos just like this. I'm going to be grinding out an absolute ton of tips and tricks content in this new season, so it would really mean a lot if you could hit that subscribe button for me so you can stay up to date. As well as that, if you want to go an extra step to help your boy out, then consider using code Teckoh in the Fortnite item shop. That really helps me more than you think it does, even if you don't buy a bunch of stuff. But with that said, guys, hopefully you're all enjoying the new season. Best of luck in your games, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.